The idea of entering into a wage contract where you are literally selling yourself, or rather renting yourself, into servitude is an abominable, fundamental assault on human rights.
Well, speaking of people who have absolutely no economic literacy, we have to play this TikToker from a out and out communist. And I want to play this because I increasingly realize that a lot of people truly don't understand what progressives actually believe. And I think he does a pretty good job of summing it up. So I want to play this video, and then I want us to counter it and help explain why this is completely idiotic.
Capitalism requires the existence of a class of people who only have their labor power to sell in exchange for basic human survival needs like food, water, and shelter. Capitalism is a system designed to deprive people of their basic human needs in order to exploit them in the workforce. This is all to the benefit of a small, privileged class of individuals who enjoy and own all the wealth, resources, and property. To put it simply, capitalism depends on the concept of wage labor. Throughout history, this relationship between capital and labor has been known popularly as wage slavery, for the very reason that the idea of entering into a wage contract where you are literally selling yourself, or rather renting yourself, into servitude is an abominable, fundamental assault on human rights.
So there's a lot there. But first, I think it's crazy to me, these woke people. Isn't it kind of racially insensitive to compare working for a wage that's voluntary, you have your choice of jobs, you choose, you accept, you sign the dotted line, to literal slavery, which was very much not voluntary. People were not compensated. They weren't able to walk away at any time. I mean, you'd think that would get them canceled by their own community. No, that kind of insensitive comparison.
It's historically bankrupt. The opposite of slavery is being paid for your labor. Those are the two opposites, right? It's actually the foil. So to compare it is ridiculous. It is highly offensive, and you would think that they would get canceled for it if anybody was actually kind of dissecting what they were saying. But I think what you have, and this is at root of communist progressivism, socialism, their ideologies, is this factor of greed and class envy, where these people are taught to hate people who are more successful than them. They're taught to hate people that they work for. They're taught that those are their enemies. That was always a vital component of spreading these ideologies, if you read the writings of their creators, so that you have people who want to sort of have this greed and anger towards the ruling classes. They'll come in and overthrow it. It's ridiculous, because if in order to think like this man thinks, you would have to, one, be completely unaware of how societies functioned before capitalism, which mostly was either through slavery or feudalism, or having to work for other people and not fully get to reap the rewards of that work. You weren't given a salary, you didn't get to keep the proceeds of your own labor, and you also didn't have the choice to go work for yourself. And that's a fundamental part of capitalism. Nobody's forcing you to take a salary or go work for somebody else. You have every bit as much liberty to start your own business or to work as an independent contractor, unless Biden and the unions get their say on that. But for the time being, you have those abilities as much as the next guy does. If you choose to not take that initiative, if you choose to not go and work that hard, if you choose not take the risk that is involved in opening your own business, then you can still go work for somebody else, and you can negotiate your salary, and you can figure out what you think is a fair price for the work that you have to provide. And if you want to make more money, you can go and acquire more skills and increase your value. These things were not opportunities that you saw under virtually any other system known to man until capitalism came along. So he just fundamentally misunderstands what was in existence before capitalism and what would exist if it were to go away.
Yeah, he does. I think a couple other points there. The idea that capitalism relies on people not having their needs met to keep them subservient or whatever. It's actually kind of the opposite, in that capitalism, you get rich by serving other people's needs, right? The customer's always right. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, has made billions of dollars, but he did it by literally developing a company that brings extraordinarily affordable goods delivered the next day to your doorstep in a way that people couldn't have imagined a few decades ago. He did it by meeting people's needs in a better way than his competitors, not by depriving people of what they need to survive. That
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
He acts like needs don't exist organically. Like you always have fundamental needs that have to be met.
Scarcity is the starting
There's
point.
scarcity, exactly. And to act like capitalism requires there to be need. No, capitalism acknowledges the fundamental reality that people have needs. And it is, you have to have the mentality of a 5 or 6-year-old to continue to be able to deny that very factor and to think that if it weren't for capitalism, all your needs would just be magically met. Yeah. By what? Benevolent dictators who just want to take care of you.
Also, the idea that capitalism only benefits like a wealthy cabal at the top or whatever is just simply not true. I mean, think of the average poor person in America today is better off, has a higher material standard of living than the richest elites did 75 years ago. Not only
that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's also been responsible for huge reductions in global poverty, maternal mortality, standards of living across the board, because capitalism relies on mutually beneficial trade and transactions, and everyone gets rich at the same time. Yes, the rich get really rich, but everybody's standard of living goes up.
Yes, and capitalism, is important to remember, has really only been in popularity since about 250 years ago. It just really started being implemented. But you can go to Human Progress, which is a great website for tracking some of this, and look at the data, look at the graphs as it has spread to different countries. Globally, it has reduced world poverty, world hunger, it has increased lifespans. You mentioned all those things, but it has done so in such a short period of time. It is actually mind-boggling. And you can even look. It's miraculous, yes. And you can even look as it has spread to third worlds, as it is increasingly spreading. You can watch them on the graph start to increase in these same ways. I think you have to be completely in a bubble to ignore just how amazing capitalism has been for humanity. There is nothing else that compares. And even when it has been tried imperfectly, like it has been in the US, we have still seen it lead to greater increases in wealth and an expansion of the quality of life at far higher rates than when you see communism or socialism tried. They'll often say these things have not been done perfectly. They haven't been implemented as we see them. Well, we've seen you do your best, and it's led to mass deaths and destitution and reduction in the quality of life and in lifespan. And the opposite is true for capitalism. So I think this is just such a really childish viewpoint of the world. And it is astounding to me the number of people who continue to ascribe to this ideology.